W.A.W presents Big Time Boxing USA on War of Week Radio.
Guys, welcome. Happy hump day to all of you guys. And oh my gosh, be still my heart. We are in the presence. Guys, you've seen him on ESPN. You've seen him on Showtime. You've seen him on Fox Sports. And you just saw him this past weekend globally on worldwide pay-per-view. The incomparable Thomas Treiber. Woo! Thomas, how you doing?
I am fantastic, Joe, and really thankful to be with you here today.
The pleasure is all mine, my friend. I tell you what, guys, and I apologize, Austin right now is taking care of co-head training duties, getting his Houston Hitmen ready for the big soiree tomorrow at the Shrine Auditorium, and they're going to be taking on head-to-head the San Antonio Snipers. Guys, tickets are still available. If you want tickets, go to teamcombatleague.com, and Mr. Treiber is going to be the master of ceremonies there tomorrow night. Thomas, is this your first dance, like calling the action on Team Combat League Sports?
Yeah, I will be ring announcing, and this is my first time working with the Team Combat League. I think it's a really interesting and fun way to have a boxing event. I'm just learning about how things will be conducted tomorrow, but very thankful for the opportunity, and always fun to expand your horizons as a ring announcer.
Brother. And I tell you what, they wanted the best, so they went out and got the best, brother. Congratulations. And you have been very busy, brother. I tell you what, you did a heck of a job doing the ring announcing for all of the festivities during Media Week as well. What was it like getting used? I'm sure are you used to it by now? But no, that jet lag is, boy, that's some serious stuff, isn't it?
It can take its toll on your body. That it's no joke. Saudi Arabia is 8 hours ahead of the time here in Texas where I live, and it could definitely be challenging. Thankfully, throughout the week, where the first thing we have is our grand arrival, and then the next day we will have a public media workout, and then the day after that we'll have the final press conference, and then the day after that is the weigh-in, and then it's the show the day after that. So every day I'm very, very busy hosting all of the week's festivities in Saudi Arabia. This was my 6th trip now to Riyadh. And
wow.
It's really been a incredible, life-changing experience for me as a ring announcer.
Wow. We know we're going to pick your brain, brother, because we want to talk to someone who's got the best seat in the house and who knows what he's looking at in the ring. And boy, you were witness to a whole lot over the past year. My word, to say the least. Well, let's just go back to last October. Would you like to do that, sir?
Let's do it.
Oh, my word. First of all, when Tyson Fury showed up looking somewhat like Jabba the Hutt, were you a little bit worried? Because Francis Ngannou is always in shape, and when he showed up with my brother Dewey Cooper, yeah, that guy is boxing through and through. Even though he teaches MMA and coaches MMA, he's boxing through and through. And were you a little bit concerned for Tyson and Javen?
Well, I'm always very confident in Tyson Fury's abilities. I honestly did not know that much about Francis Ngannou. Of course, I knew he was a former UFC heavyweight champion. I knew of his, great MMA pedigree. But, I think like many, I just did not think he was going to be able to, carry the skills needed against a world-class professional boxer like Tyson Fury. And so we were all quite shocked, I think, at how well Ngannou did. And that's, and I mean no disrespect to him as a boxer, but I just thought, going to Saudi Arabia on that week in October, that it was going to be a, clear-cut victory. If it went the distance, I thought it was just going to be a one of those fights where Tyson just coasted through using his jab and skills and being elusive. Boy, were we all shocked and surprised to see how well Ngannou did under, it was his pro debut, Joe, and, as a boxer. And obviously he was in incredible physical condition. The guy is an amazing specimen of a man. And Tyson Fury did not look to be in the shape he should have been for that fight. Did he underestimate Ngannou? Perhaps he did. But I think, as a employee of Queensberry Promotions and Frank Warren, and a friend of Tyson Fury, and I did his pro debut back in 2008 on the undercard of Carl Froch versus John Pascal in Nottingham, England. So I have
what a great fight that was too, brother. Oh my gosh, we got to talk about that in a bit. Go ahead, sir. My apologies.
Yeah, it was a great 12-round fight. It was Carl Froch's first world title, and what a great atmosphere as well. That's Carl Froch's hometown, Nottingham, England, and that was my first show ever across the pond. And I will always be very thankful, for that opportunity, because that's really what set the spark for me as far as being a ring announcer in the UK. And that led to many, many more opportunities and eventually working for the number one promotional company, Queensberry. So, but I have a long history with Tyson Fury. I consider him a friend. He's a great guy. And I know many of his family members throughout the years I've gotten to know. So, I did not want to see anything catastrophic happen that night because, there was a lot of big plans after that fight. So I think everyone involved who was rooting for Fury's heart stopped for a few minutes, but he ended up doing what he had to do. He did end up getting the decision win. And thankfully, we were able to continue moving forward with our plans, but a lot of respect for Francis Ngannou. Obviously, things didn't work out that well for him against Anthony Joshua. And I think a lot of people didn't expect that either, Joe. I think a lot of people expected Ngannou to put up more of a fight that night, but it wasn't to be. So, it was a shocking night in October when Fury and Ngannou fought.
Yeah, and fast forward then. Now, what were your thoughts when you saw that grand arrival in May, the second week of May, and he arrives and he is very svelte. Did you see that one coming, brother?
Well, I did, because Joe, with that cut, that increased his training time to get ready for Usyk. So he had a lot more time to continue training. A lot of people were even saying that Fury looked like he lost too much weight. And when he got on the scale, I think he actually was pretty close to his normal fighting weight. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Just about 10 pounds lighter. That's all.
Okay. But he definitely did look more slender than usual. But I was happy to see that, because it showed that he put in the time in the gym, that he was taking it very seriously. And with Usyk being, not a big heavyweight, perhaps Tyson needed to be a little bit lighter to just add a little more to his agility. So I was happy to see that Tyson, looked the way he did when I first saw him at the Grand Arrivals, and then the next day at the media workout. So, he definitely put in the work for that fight.
Yeah, I tell you what, and it looked like, Thomas, he was going to skate away to a very easy, decisive victory until the 8th round. And then came the 9th. Wow. The shot heard round the world ringside. What were you thinking when you saw Tyson ostensibly hurt worse than he ever had been prior to that?
Well, I'll tell you what, I was literally sitting right behind Todd Grisham, who does the play-by-play for DAZN. I stayed in my seat That was my seat when I was doing the full undercard that night. I did the full undercard even up to the co-main event, which was a real honor to do that. So I had a bird's eye view of the ring, and it really looked like it was going to be Tyson's night. I mean, the way he was moving around, he was, going to the body, going upstairs, a little more showboating than I would have preferred. But, that's Tyson. I mean, but that's Tyson Fury. That's him. Yeah. So that was kind of to be expected. But, that one round just changed the entire course of the fight.
I was doing a live broadcast, and we do that from time to time for most of the big fights. And we usually just provide commentary. It's almost like a big house party with everyone involved all around the country, all around the world. And we were all taken aback to see Tyson do his best impression of a pinball from pillar to post. It was shocking, to say the least. But I was saying 2 rounds before that, when everyone was saying, oh, man, I've never seen anyone make Usyk look this, inept. And I said, well, guys, pump your brakes, because special fighters make adjustments. They adapt and they overcome. Don't be surprised if Alexander Usyk comes out in the mid to late rounds and makes the proper adjustment and makes his way back in this fight. Lo and behold, it happened. Look, we've all seen Tyson Fury's Undertaker routine, right? Which was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
We've seen him get up off the canvas against arguably one of the heaviest punchers in the history of boxing, Deontay Wilder. But correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen him this ostensibly hurt like this. It was almost like an oddity. It was almost like staring at the sun. It physically hurt.
Yeah. It was very, very, tough to see for me. But, he did end up surviving the round, and he ended up finishing, the last few rounds and finishing very well under the circumstances of what happened in that round. And that just goes to show, how Tyson Fury, he's a tough guy, and he has a lot of heart, and he didn't quit. He's not a quitter. And it wasn't the result I was hoping for. When Michael Buffer said the first 2 scores, I was really thinking perhaps it was going to be a split draw. That was my first gut instinct. I thought that third judge was going to have it a draw, but it was not to be. Tyson tasted his first defeat. We've got the rematch now lined up for December 21st. So it will be just a few days before Christmas that we'll be seeing the rematch, and it's going to be another incredible build-up. And will Tyson Fury make some adjustments? Will he do what he needs to do to, get his redemption on that night?
Well, I tell you what, we were all witness, win or lose, we were all witness to an all-time instant classic. That was an amazing heavyweight fight. It was just what the doctor ordered. So please introduce us to the official mascot of War Week Boxing tonight. Woo! What's the kitty's name, brother?
Yeah, it's oh my goodness. Yeah, let me
That's
see
all
if
right.
I can.
That's all right. Let's see. Come on.
I think she'll go Olivia. Olivia is her name.
Olivia.
So, Olivia's she's
That's
having
all
a rough,
right. She's just
having
excited.
a rough day. She doesn't like to be locked out of a room. So
oh, boo, Thomas. No, the more the merrier, my friend. But with that perfect segue into our first, you ready to play the game, brother? It's your first time. This is your first time doing fact or fiction. Floyd, please, the honors.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
Well, thank you, Floyd. Appreciate it, brother. So are you ready, sir? We're jumping all the way up to 7. Here we go.
All right.
Fact, sir. Tyson Fury will defeat Alexander Usyk in the rematch slated for December in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Oh boy. Why do you think so, sir?
You know, I've always had a lot of, faith in Tyson Fury. When he fought Klitschko, everybody told me, oh, he's going to lose against Klitschko. He's going to lose against Klitschko. When he fought Wilder, everybody told me he's going to lose against Wilder. He's going to lose against Wilder. And I truly believed that he was going to beat Usyk, a few weeks ago as well. It was a close fight. It was a split decision.
One judge thought he did. One judge thought he did.
One judge thought he did. And, I know some people that think maybe he even won the fight. And it was a close fight. So did he get clipped? Did he get hurt? Absolutely. But
that's part of boxing.
It happens to the best of them, Joe. And I really believe that he's going to be back in December wanting redemption, and he's going to be again in great condition and in great shape, and perhaps he's going to want it even more than Usyk. So we will see what happens, but I'm a Tyson Fury guy, and I'm a Queensberry guy. So I would love nothing more to see Tyson Fury win that rematch.
Well, you remember when we spoke before the fight, I told you what my prediction was, and I was very, very close. I just did not anticipate Daniel Dynamite Dubois, coming up big when he absolutely had to. But I remember I told you it was looking like a clean sweep with the exception of that fight for Queensberry. And lo and behold, 10-0. Spanked Eddie Hearn. And Frank Warren, just like that, reminded everybody why he's a Hall of Famer. And there it is. There it is.
It was a great night for Queensberry. That is for sure. I had a lot of faith in our 5 fighters, but boy, oh boy, I certainly did not, think that we would get a clean sweep. And I'm thankful that we did. And I know that Frank Warren must have slept very well that night in Riyadh.
Oh, at the expense of Eddie Hearn. But
And by the way, Joe, I mean, I had an opportunity to work very closely with a lot of the Matchroom staff and Eddie Hearn, and what a wonderful, great group of guys. And it was a real pleasure working with them. Of course, everybody knows of the rivalry, between the two companies, but all of them, true professionals, true gentlemen.
Yes, indeed.
And it could not have been more of a pleasure working with Matchroom with that event.
You know what? I will say this. My experience just working any of those Matchroom events, be it a journalist, be it a commentator, be it just an analyst, they've always really taken care of everybody. And they're very professional. You're absolutely right. And Kevin Rooney Jr., I've known him for a very long time. Very astute gentleman. And I knew he was going to be a matchmaker. I first met him when he was doing PR for Lou DiBella Entertainment.
That's when I met Lou. I met him myself back then when he was with DiBella Entertainment as well. And I saw Kevin in Riyadh. Hadn't seen him we talked about it. I couldn't even remember the last time that Kevin and I had crossed paths. I mean, it's probably been a decade, which is so strange in this business to not cross paths with, people at a high level like Kevin Rooney. But it was great to see him. And, he definitely, second generation in the boxing business. Of course, his father, a trainer of course, Mike Tyson. So really, really great to see him.
Vinny Pazienza also. Yep.
Oh, yeah. And many others.
Tasmanian Devil. And there it is. Woo! I tell you what. So are you ready? Here comes number 2. I'm going to drop the deuce, brother. Woo! Here it comes. Number 2. Deontay Wilder will not retire, but will change head trainers and start working with your boy, Ronnie Shields in Houston, Texas. How do you like that?
Wow.
Wow. Or fiction?
Oh my goodness, that's a really tough one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, of course, that would be best case scenario for Deontay Wilder if he was to continue boxing. I couldn't think of anyone better, than Ronnie to take him from this point here and see what he can do with Deontay to end his career on a better note. But I'm gonna go with fiction on this one. I'm just gonna say that it's always up to the fighter. I would never encourage a fighter to retire. It's entirely their decision. But I think Deontay Wilder has had a tremendous career. I think he should be I think he should hold his head very high for the accomplishments he's had, both as a bronze medalist for the United States in the Olympics and then becoming the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, that is an amazing accomplishment. And I think he should be very proud of himself. But I think after what happened and what I saw this past weekend and what has happened in his past couple of fights, perhaps it's time to, spend some time with your family and evaluate what your future goals are. But if his heart is really that much into it, I would love to see this become a fact and him work with Ronnie Shields. Ronnie's one of the best. He's worked with the greatest heavyweights in boxing history, and I'm sure he would make a great team with Deontay Wilder.
And fun fact, brother, fun fact. I don't know if you know this or not, but Deontay Wilder and Al Heyman wanted Ronnie Shields to train him initially. But because Deontay wanted to stay in Tuscaloosa, he wanted to stay in Alabama to train. And so that was just logistically impossible for Ronnie because of all the talent he has in Sugar Land, Texas. And so Ronnie called up his friend Mark Breland. And that's how they got that meeting, Mark Breland, Deontay Wilder's through Ronnie. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if he wants to continue with his career. But I'm with you. I'm with you. Look, when I was watching the fight, and like I said, I always do a live commentary while these fights are going on War Week Boxing. I had to bust out the Emmanuel Stewart impression. You know how we always used to ruin a broadcast 30 seconds in because he had that trainer's eye on HBO? Look at him. He looks like a shot fighter he's got no legs underneath him. It's only a matter of time before he gets knocked out. And you know what? And I actually had thank you, my brother. Well, it really helped working with him for about 3 years. And that's how I got to meet Javen. And that's how we became friends. But a boxing education, lifetime boxing education in just 3 years working with the man. And boy, Emmanuel was special. But that look he gave you when you did something wrong or did something that he didn't approve of, he would look right through you and he'd be like, yes, sir. Now, what? And you know what? He got this voice whenever he got on that ass, right? Mm-hmm. Now, look at me when I'm talking to you, and he just exploded. Yeah, like you heard it in between the Lennox Lewis fight, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah. He knew how to, get his message through. He knew when he had to speak a certain way. But I love Emmanuel Stewart on HBO. I mean, I'll tell you, I think he was one of my favorites. I love the way he would dissect the fights and the fighters and the action. And, God rest his soul, one of the greatest ever in boxing. I was actually just in Detroit a few weeks ago as well.
That's right, with Dimitri Salita. Yep.
That's right. Yep. We did a DAZN show there with Salita Promotions. They've really, started a great series that hopefully will continue to grow. I know they just announced that Clarissa Shields, one of their fighters, will be fighting July 27th. In Detroit, Michigan, I believe. And so they've got big plans and Dimitri has big goals. And I'm very thankful. I started working with Dimitri on the Showtime Showbox series. He was one of the regular promoters doing events at Showbox. So I was very thrilled to get the phone call a few months ago. This was my second one with the Big Time Boxing USA series that he's doing. And I'm hoping to, continue working with him for a long time to come. But Sugar Stewart was there as well. And I had a chance to talk to him. And, boy, he grew up around his uncle Emmanuel and around that Kronk gym. So it's in his blood. It is in his blood.
Yep. Yeah, Javen's a dear friend of mine. That's my brother, man. And he it's funny. he does everything exactly like Emmanuel. Everything. And when people ask him, hey, you've grown into your own trainer, do you do anything differently? He's like, well, if I actually had a McDonald's franchise and it's a proven winner, do you think I would make the fries any different? And he said, so why would you expect me to do anything differently than my Uncle Emmanuel? And he's got a point. He's got a point. He does everything, including like not the fighters who have nutritionists, but including he actually goes every morning and picks out produce and he plans all of their meals just like Emmanuel used to.
Wow, that's a dedicated. I did not know that. That's true dedication, and paying attention to detail, and nutrition is such a huge part of an athlete's success. And that's great that he goes that extra mile like that.
Yep, indeed, because he's just like Emmanuel. They want to see everything that's going into your body, so something doesn't come up. Like number 8 on Factor Fiction. Are you ready, brother? Ryan Garcia will receive a minor 4-month suspension and be cleared to fight just in time for a rematch with Devin Haney in November. Fact or fiction?
Oh my goodness.
Woo!
I'm gonna go with fiction. I just don't think it's gonna happen this year. I mean, I would love to see it, but I think under the circumstances and everything that has happened with the testing and so forth, I just can't see the negotiations working out for that to happen. I mean, hey, who knows? Like we just said a little while ago, anything's possible in boxing. But my gut tells me they will both, if they do have a rematch, they will probably both fight another opponent before that were to come into fruition.
Well, I tell you what, Ryan Garcia had better hope that Golden Boy doesn't honor his wishes and pit him against Virgil Ortiz Jr. That
would be a tough fight. That would be a very, very difficult fight.
That would be a horror show for Ryan Garcia. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it. And guys, we're going to go to the comment section. My brother, Adam Montequilla Lopez, you mentioned Showbox.
Oh, man, Adam Lopez, yeah.
That's it, Montequilla. My brother, Adam. And you know what? He's got the record. 9 appearances on Showbox. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing. In fact, when I saw him and maybe about a month ago, and we spoke about that, and, Showtime Showbox was on the air from 2001 to 2023. And I had the honor of doing the 3rd ever Showbox. It was late September of 2001. And the reason I remember that so distinctly was it was my debut on Showtime and being on the brand new Showbox series. And again, that was only their 3rd ever Showbox show. And I thought the show was going to get canceled because of 9/11. It had just happened a few weeks before, that 3rd ever Showbox. So it was a scary time to get on an airplane, with everything that was going on in our country with the 9/11 attacks. But to think of all the fighters, Joe, that have fought on Showbox, and Adam Montequilla Lopez fought on there more than any professional boxer in the history of that series that lasted over 2 decades. I mean, that's truly an amazing achievement. Adam is a truly nice guy as well. And I think he should hold his head very high for his accomplishments inside the ring and for being a historical part of Showbox, the new generation.
Indeed, indeed. And he is forever in the annals of Showbox. And that's it. We're going to see him tomorrow, hopefully, at the Shrine Auditorium.
Hope so.
There it is.
Hope so.
And there it is. And also, Scott Mailing says Tom is a great announcer. He started out on my shows over 25 years ago.
Oh, my God.
You like that?
And I absolutely did. Let me tell you something. You know, when you're starting off as a ring announcer, it's hard to get promoters to believe in you and give you an opportunity. I was living in Chicago and in the Chicago area. Scott Mailing's a promoter in Arizona. And he gave me an opportunity. We had a mutual friend. Her name was Mary Kay Ballack. She went to bat for me, told Scott, hey, this guy's looking for opportunity to enhance his work as a ring announcer. And Scott was nice enough to give me an opportunity and start ring announcing on his shows. And it was because of Scott Mailing that I got the experience I needed, where I eventually started to work on television. And in fact, we were just talking about Showbox, and Scott was very involved with the Showbox series. In fact, he was the one that helped book me on those early Showbox events. So not only do I owe Scott Mailing for helping me cut my teeth as a ring announcer early in my career, but he was the one, because Scott was a tremendous matchmaker and promoted shows as well. He wore a couple of different hats, but he was the one that got me the opportunity and got my foot in the door with the Showbox series. So forever grateful for that, Scott, if you're listening right now, and I hope you're doing great. Congratulations. I know you got married recently as well, and really hope that we cross paths real soon again.
And there it is. Scott, thank you for tuning in, brother. And thank you for giving a shout out and supporting Thomas Treiber on this day. Also, my brother Outlaw. Woo! Thank you for supporting Thomas on this day, brother. We appreciate it. Also, let's go up here. A couple questions, my friend. Hold on. My computer is running as slow as molasses. It's running on impulse power, Captain. Here we go. Let's see. Canelo's World. Welcome to the show, sir. And thank you for supporting Thomas on this day. Salute, guys. Joseph, do you know Virgil is completely off that LA card? It depends. From what I've been told, it's going to be between two guys. It's if they can make a deal. It's going to be for either the IBF junior middleweight title, or it's going to be for the interim WBC title. It's going to be Sergey Boachuk or Murtazaliev. I think that's his name. Is that his name?
Martaz. I know who you're speaking of.
Murtazaliev. Is that his name?
I'm not sure of.
Yeah, I think it's Murtazaliev.
Okay.
No. I don't want to put you on the spot, brother, because I know you're a real stickler with names. Usually, so am I. Yeah. Obviously, I don't want to get behind the mic, but I think it's Murtazaliev. So it's either going to be Kathy Duva's guy, Murtazaliev, or it's going to be Tom Loeffler's guy, Boachuk. And so from what I've been told, they're negotiating with both of those gentlemen. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be one of those guys, right? Because August 3rd, still plenty of time for anyone to prepare for. But do they want to take on Virgil Ortiz Jr., Thomas?
Well, I mean, I think that would be a great addition, to the card. I mean, all of these Riyadh season cards have been just outstanding. And I mean, especially this last show I just did, the 5 versus 5. I can't honestly say I've ever been part of a more exciting show from top to bottom. I mean, it definitely will go down as one of the greatest shows I have ever worked. And I've been in this business since 1991. So 33 years I've been stepping through the ropes, and I can't remember a fight card from top to bottom being that exciting. Now, of course, there was more interest because it was the 5 versus 5, and I'm with Queensberry, and that added an extra element of interest, but the competitiveness of the fights were just outstanding. And as a fight fan and working in the business as a ring announcer, I enjoyed every second of being there at the Kingdom Arena last week. So hopefully that'll be just the beginning of these. I love the concept, Joe. I love the concept. I even saw.
I love it too.
I don't know if there's any truth to it. I don't know if there's been any decision made, but it looks like Oscar De La Hoya is interested in doing a Top Rank versus Golden Boy.
Oh boy.
I think this is going to lead to, the greatest part about it is seeing fights that we wouldn't get to see normally. Promoters who wouldn't work with each other in the past are now, thankfully, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, who is very, very passionate about boxing, and he wants to bring the best fights to the boxing fans, and that's his entire goal. And I think he's really, making some big waves already.
Indeed. And Minnie Mill, shout out to you, brother. Thank you for supporting Thomas on this day. And yeah, we apologize that Austin, boy, he's getting ready for his Houston Hitmen tomorrow night. Thomas is, oh my gosh, speak of the Las Cruces Diablo. Here he is at this time introducing the former junior middleweight champion of the world, Mr. Austin, no doubt Trout. Woo! Austin, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. Listen, I'm sorry for being late. Like you see, I'm over here in San Antonio. I'm in your hood.
Yeah,
looks
you're
like
right
you're
there. Riverwalk, my brother.
Family had me, family running around, man.
Oh, that's great. I tell you what, we won't keep you long, brother. We won't keep you long. Obviously, we're being joined by the one and only Thomas Treiber. Also, he's
I just seen that man today, man. Pleasure working with you, Tom.
Likewise, Austin. I saw Austin at the weigh-in earlier. Best of luck with your team. I'm super excited to be, making my debut with the Team Combat League. And everybody looks like they're ready.
It's gonna be a good time.
I tell you what,
your listeners never watched Team Combat League, tune in. It's crazy.
Well, I tell you what, guys, you can get your tickets or you can watch it live. Go to teamcombatleague.com. Guys, tickets are still available. You don't want to miss it. I'm going to be there with several of my fighters, and I'm not going to tell you who we're going to be rooting for just yet. But Austin,
don't do that to us, man. You got to be, man.
You'll always be family to us, brother. But hey, any last-minute changes to the Hitmen squad?
You say
or
to the
can
roster?
You say anything yet? Yeah, can you say anything about that? Are there any last-minute changes to the Houston Hitmen squad, the lineup, the roster tomorrow?
Not really last minute. The thing about this Team Combat League is that fighters coming in and out. But right now we have a solid team like Christian Montano, Jaden Britton, Tyler Howard. These guys are some solid fighters, and they weren't even with us the first time. When we fought San Antonio the first time, we did our thing. So I'm excited to show what the new talent is gonna do to y'all this tomorrow night.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Austin, let me ask you a question, Austin. If I can ask you a question real quick. So, with this concept, they fight only one round.
Correct.
What type of, as a coach and somebody working with these fighters, what kind of approach do you tell them to take, considering they've only got an opportunity for 3 minutes to win their spot?
The coaching doesn't necessarily really come into play when it comes to a full game plan. Like now, we do have to give these guys a game plan and to execute, but it's really the coaching comes with the matchups. What style just fits best with which fighter out of our three? And then if one guy he's the best, but he's still not a good opportunity, then that's when the game plan's got to come into play. But if your style's a good match, do you? But if it doesn't, all right, look, I'm gonna need you to jab and stay on the outside. I know you like the bang, but don't do it. You got the speed, you got the footwork. You know what I mean? So it really goes with the matchups and styles and how you can pivot when things don't go your way. Because things, say sometimes you have a guy matched up in the launch or middle rounds, and he gets his ass whooped. But you also have a match in the money round. Oh, you're like, damn, we don't, you know what I mean? You don't have the time to make an adjustment. You got to get in there.
You only got one round. Yeah, that's a
exactly.
lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure on a fighter.
Dare I say, Houston Hitmen have the best coaching tandem in the entire league. Oh my gosh. I was working with Bobby Benton in preparation for all of this.
Honestly, he doesn't stop amazing me on just his boxing knowledge. Like the little things my man sees and the little tiny adjustments that he makes now, just like I was talking about. San Antonio, when we fought San Antonio the first time, we had three guys that got their ass whooped the first round, and they were matched up for the money round. Right? So I'm like, damn, look, one of them almost got dropped. So anyway, Bobby told him little subtle adjustments that turned it all the way around. So in the money rounds, those three men won, and won very decisively, like wasn't even close. So it's crazy how he was able to do that. I didn't even see it. I'm like, look, man, run, don't get dropped. You know what I mean? Don't get knocked out. But I was like, step to him, hands tight. As soon as you feel something punch, you know what I mean? He's really a boxing genius. So it's dope to see, man. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Austin, you look like you're enjoying this visit to San Antonio a lot more than maybe prior visits. So I'll tell you what, man. your parting shots, and then we'll let you get back to your family, and we will have more interviews with you tomorrow live from the Shrine Auditorium. But your parting shots for our listening audience tonight, sir.
Sounds good, man, because I got a lot to talk about. We got the W.A.W lawsuit coming up. That's going to change the game for everybody.
Yeah. We need to dedicate a special 30-minute segment just for that, my friend.
Awesome. All right, man.
Austin,
thank you.
You enjoy the River City, brother, the Alamo City. God bless you, and we will see you tomorrow, my friend.
All right.
I tell you what, that is the always classy Austin, no doubt Trout. But in the final moments, Thomas, I want to share a special treat with everyone. I recognized that brilliant 80s classic style wrestling cadence from your ring announcing style. And lo and behold, this gentleman to the right of me is a former pro wrestler who tangled with stunning Steve Austin. Holy cow. Dude, you've got to be kidding. I knew it.
That is fact.
How did you get into pro wrestling, brother?
Well, how it happened for me was I started ring announcing at 17. I was just a senior in high school. And at that, I was a big pro wrestling fan because we're talking the late 80s, early 90s. And I, just like everybody, I was a big pro wrestling fan. But I was more interested in broadcasting. So I got my foot in the door, ring announcing, boxing, and also doing independent wrestling shows, mostly throughout the Midwest, the Chicago area. And I was also a bodybuilder. I had competed in teenage bodybuilding. So I, had a strong interest in trying to wrestle. And after winning the Teenage Mr. Illinois competition in 1992, I then started training to become a wrestler shortly after. I was only 19 years old. And then about 3 to 6 months into my training, I was wrestling mostly on independent wrestling shows throughout the Midwest. And at one particular show I was on in St. Louis, Missouri, there were a couple of scouts there for WCW, World Championship Wrestling. Dave Penzer, who was a ring announcer for WCW, was working as a talent scout for enhancement talent, a jobber, if you will.
Yep.
Him and Bob Roop, former great wrestler Bob Roop. And they both approached me. They asked me my thoughts on, they said, you got a good look. We like what you're doing, because they had seen me just wrestle that night in St. Louis. They said, we would be interested in bringing you out to Georgia for some of our television tapings and give you an opportunity, which I jumped on. And I was literally only wrestling for maybe 10 months, when I got this opportunity. And before I knew it, I was wrestling in Georgia. My first night, I wrestled the Awesome Kongs that were managed by Harley Race. And my
King Harley Race, yep.
And my tag team partner on my first night with WCW was Scott D'Amore, who
wow.
ended up, he was 18 and I was 19, and they just squashed us. I mean, but that was really cool, working with the Kongs and Harley Race. And it was my second night that I was matched with the gentleman, a tag team partner named Rick Tango. And we wrestled the Hollywood Blondes, which was stunning.
Wow. Yep.
Stunning Steve Austin, and Flying Brian Pillman.
Brian.
You can find that match on YouTube if you put in Hollywood Blondes versus Jobber Tommy Tanna. And I was Tommy Tanna. That was my name, Tanna. And so I was Tommy Tanna. And then my third night, I wrestled in a tag team match against Ravishing Rick Rude and the Equalizer. So
wow.
At 19 years of age.
Music.
Yeah. And so that was really a dream come true for me to be in that position so quickly as a professional wrestler. But I knew deep down that my heart was not into actually wrestling, but being an announcer. And that's what I truly wanted to pursue. So after only about 2 years of wrestling, opportunity started to come my way as a ring announcer, where I ended up making my debut on ESPN in 1995. And then eventually in 1997, I got one of my biggest breaks, becoming the exclusive ring announcer for America Presents for the Fox Sports Net series Fight Time on Fox.
Dan Goosen.
And Dan
Goosen
was my boss. He's the one that hired me. I owe him my life. I mean, he was the one that really, gave me my first taste of working regularly nationwide, not just, in the Chicago area, but traveling the entire country as a full-time ring announcer at 24 years old. And I've been at it ever since. I love it, and I never want to quit.
Well, I tell you what, you are truly exceptional at it. And boy, lo and behold, we've been on for almost an hour. It is 8:03 now, brother, Central Time. And so your parting shots, and what should we expect tomorrow, my friend?
Well, if anybody in the San Antonio area can go, it's at the Shrine. The Shrine is in San Antonio. It's Team Combat League. It's the, let me check right here, make sure I say this correctly. It is the San Antonio Snipers against the Houston Hitmen. And it's a really unique concept of boxing where it's a team of around, I believe, 16 or so fighters on each team, and the fights are only one round. And then there's a scoring system based on the decision of each one of those rounds. And it should be really exciting. And I'm looking forward to expanding my horizons and being part of something new and unique like this event. So if you live in San Antonio, come on out and say hello to me.
There it is. Thomas Treiber. He'll be calling, going to be doing all the ring announcing. And lo and behold, we've got the matchmaker and the event coordinator. Oh, he's coming into the building, and that's Mr. Robert Tapia. Robert, we can't see you right now. Can you see him? Can you see Robert?
Hey, that's probably
I see all Blackbird.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, boo.
Well, all right.
Can you hear us, Robert? Can you hear us, sir? It looks like he's frozen. We'll try to get him back on in just a second. But Mr. Treiber, congratulations. You survived your first stint at Factor Fiction, brother.
Well, I thank you very much for having me, Joe. It's been a lot of fun, speaking with you. And there he is.
Hey.
There's Mr. Tapia, the man right there. He's the one who
How
puts
you guys
all
doing?
of this together. We are doing great now that you're here, brother. And we are just telling, this is Thomas's first time doing Team Combat League. And
gotcha.
but he has to let our official mascot of War Week Boxing out of the room. And so we will see you at 7 p.m. tomorrow at the Shrine Auditorium, Thomas. And I'm going to have lots of live coverage for everyone, guys. God bless all of you. And once again, if you guys want tickets, go check it out at Team Combat. That's easy for me to say, right? TeamCombatLeague.com. That's it. Thomas, we will see you tomorrow. And thank you, brother. We need to make this a regular segment, brother.
I would love to. You're an incredibly talented man, Joe, and always an honor to work with you. We've worked together on many, many events throughout Texas, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as well. Thank you.
Oh, especially in the tri-state area. Woo!
That's right. Take care, guys.
Thomas. God bless you, my friend. I tell you what, Thomas, what a real pro, man. And speaking of pros, guys, it's my pleasure to introduce one of the hardest working men in boxing, the incomparable Robert Tapia, making his debut on War a Week Boxing. Holy cow, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I tell you what, man, we have, and once again, don't think you're going to be out of the hot seat. You've got some fact or fiction to play as well. Now, this is a very special game, Robert. So everyone gets to know how incredibly opinionated and outspoken you are in a very good way. We want you to play fact or fiction, sir. Are you ready? Now, this is a game where I make a prediction, and you have to tell me whether or not it's going to be proven to be fact or fiction and explain why. So here's the introduction, sir. Here's the introduction.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
Thank you, Floyd. Thank you, Floyd. All right, brother. We're going to go to number 1, sir. Here we go. Daniel Dubois will shock the world and stop Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium in September. Fact or fiction?
Fact.
Whoa! Fact. You think he's got the momentum?
I think he's got the momentum going into this fight. He's a very talented fighter. I think I don't know. I don't see much coming out of Joshua lately.
Oh, don't let AJ fans hear you say that, brother. Honestly, guys, if you must know, that's why I love doing this with Robert, because he is the he's the monkey in the wrench. He's the fly in the ointment. And he's going to tell you some things that may offend you, but that doesn't make it untrue. Okay?
Right.
And there it is. Facts don't care about your feelings, brother.
Yeah. See, I put the fan perspective behind me. You know what I mean? And I like you say, it's either fact or fiction. You know what I'm saying?
There it is. Well, you put the fan perception behind you, except when you're putting together these matchups. Guys, you will not find a better matchmaker. In the United States than Robert Tapia. This guy is one of the hardest working men
Joseph.
I know in this business. I tell you what is your ideology behind putting together a great match? And look, you and I both know this, and fans don't. It is by far the hardest job in boxing.
Absolutely.
What makes it so challenging, especially in this era of prize fighters?
Oh, yeah. Well, in this era of prize fighters, it makes it so challenging. Let's just say it makes it challenging when this is what makes a great matchmaker. I'll just put it this way. This is what makes a great matchmaker. I believe anybody can matchmake, and anybody can make great fights if they have an unlimited funding source.
Yep.
So what makes a great matchmaker is when you can be held to a budget and produce great fights. That makes a great matchmaker, and that's what I pride myself in doing, is keeping within the promoter's budget and not taking away from the fan experience. Because a lot of times what will happen is some of the A side fighters will give up some of their purse to go to the B side fighter just so they can get that W. You know, I believe that everybody should work to get where they're at. and I don't believe that a B-side fighter should be coming in totally a B-side fighter. I want to give you, a 50-50 match or 60-40 match at least, where these B fighters are going to make it to the end of what we assigned them to do, and that's what I think separates me from the rest of the matchmakers, is that I match very aggressively, and not only for other promoters, for the same promotional hat that I fly under, I match our fighters just as hard,
There it is. There it is. I tell you what, most people don't realize that one of the hardest jobs, if not the hardest job of a matchmaker, is selling the idea, selling it that it's a good idea for both men involved.
Absolutely.
How difficult has that become in this? Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. How difficult has that become in this era of entitled bitches?
Very difficult. Very difficult. But what's funny about that whole situation is that I've built up a reputation throughout the boxing industry, to actually care about a fighter, actually, worry about what's next for them, and not only as far as an A-side fighter goes, a B-side fighter as well. I call them up after they go home the next day, and I make sure they made it home and stuff like that. I build up a relationship with these fighters, and a trusting relationship, and just just. That's I think that's the main thing in boxing. We're in the world of boxing today that where it's just such a cutthroat sport, and so many people just trying to get to the top. And when you've been at the top, and you've been at the top level as long as I have, you kind of welcome people that want to learn the sport and want to learn what you've done. And, I invite people to just ask me questions, and I'm more than willing to teach whoever wants to learn. I'm more than willing to teach them. I'm more than willing to share their knowledge, because that same knowledge was passed down to me by great people, as far as, I've got a lot of experience from different aspects of the sport, from the governmental side of the sport to the training part of the sport to the promotional side of the sport. When it comes to what I do it well-rounded. I've got a lot of knowledge as far as what has developed in the sport.
Well, I will say this, and guys, if you didn't know this yet, this gentleman that you're looking at to the right of me came up with the ring moniker, the legendary ring moniker of Juan Lascano. Seriously, that's a stroke of genius. How did you come up with that, man?
What's that? The
Hispanic causing panic.
Oh no, Hispanic causing panic. Yeah, well, I give a lot of people names. It's just something I do, and some of the fighters here in town, I've actually given them their nicknames. I won't mention who, but a lot of the fighters, I've actually nicknamed them, and they've kept it and they've liked it, and it's just, it's always been something I guess that I just do. It's kind of like a gym thing is what I do. They come in the gym, and I say, hey, and that's like that's Super Dave or something, and they're like, oh man, I'm going to keep that, that's I got a couple of kids here in the gym, that I nicknamed one Thundercat, and he stayed with that. I've nicknamed another guy Purple Rain, and he stayed with that. You know what I mean?
You're the one who came up with Purple Rain.
Yeah, I'm the one who gave Purple Rain.
Well, I tell you what. You've got to be very careful though, because these fighters, if you say something that they don't like, boy, they'll remember that till the end of time, brother. I will never forget Rick Nunez getting on my ass when I introduced his. Do you remember that? When I introduced his son, I said, introducing
No Mames
Nunez Jr.
Yeah.
And Rick Sr. came up, hey, who told you to say that? And I'm like, Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these fighters, I have a personal relationship with. So yeah, so when I nickname them, it's probably at the beginning of their career. You know what I mean? When they've had nobody to nickname them or something. You know?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it, brother. But I
Yeah.
tell you what, though. Yeah, what is the worst? And you don't. Well, if you could name drop, I would really appreciate it. But you don't have to if you don't want to. What was the worst experience you've ever had trying to put a match together?
Worst experience.
Yeah.
I think I've never had a bad experience putting matches together. You know, it's just something that I'm so passionate about and that I love. And even a bad experience, I'll turn around into making it a good experience, you know? So
That's a very good answer.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just very passionate about the sport, and I have been for a long time. And I've actually just rekindled my passion for the sport again. So you're going to see a lot of good things coming out from what I'm doing now, because it's just I fell in love with the sport all over again. You know, I had left the sport, not left the sport totally, but just kind of like I would say kind of like slacked off on it. And I've come back with a fire lit again, and you know I'm truly a man of God. So you know I mean I seek perfection from my Lord, you know, and He's just really
Absolutely.
granted me the power to actually, you know, uplift myself again, and I feel that grace again, and I'm just looking at great things coming your way, you know what I mean, and the fans are gonna benefit from what's happening to me within, because they're just going to benefit from great fights coming up.
And there it is. Thanks be to God, brother. Thanks be to God.
Yeah, absolutely. Amen. Amen.
All praise and glory to you, Jesus Christ. We've got a question from my brother Anthony Manzano. He says, Robert, what fighter is easier to train in your opinion? A fighter that has all the talent in the world, but you have to force him to train, or a fighter that has limited skills to work with, but a great work ethic?
Okay, I'll get it right now. Yeah. Fighter number one is harder to train. It has all the talent in the world. But yeah, because those fighters are usually not mentally stable. They think they know it all. They don't want to listen. When a fighter comes into our gym, we actually what I usually do first is when they come in is I give them a broom, and if they don't ask any questions and you know, and if they don't ask any questions, then I know that's going to be a good fighter to train, because he's not going to ask questions. He's just going to do what you ask him to do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
there it is.
So yeah, you can have all the talent in the world. Yeah, you could have all the talent in the world, but be missing everything because you just don't want to listen.
Yep. Francisco Bojado reminds me of someone like that.
Absolutely. Yep. That's you know, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
You remember?
Yeah, Panchito. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, he looked like he was going to be one of the greats, and he just couldn't put it together. He couldn't put it together. What do you call that? Is that a gym fighter? What do you call that?
Not a gym fighter. I call that a Budweiser fighter.
Yeah, and that's it. That's
it. Yeah.
So here we go. We need a couple more before we let you go, my friend. We got a couple more for you before we let you go.
We ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for Fact or Fiction.
And there it is. And there it is. Number 4, Big Robert. Here we go.
All right.
Blair the Flair Cobbs will knock out Adrian Broner. But the problem will still continue fighting well into 225. Fact or fiction?
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah, I see Blair Cobbs at the top of his game right now. He's a cocky fighter, but he's a younger age of Broner. You know what I mean? And he's right when he says that it's his time. You know what I mean? I think he can get in there. I think he can get rid of Broner. Broner's very vulnerable to getting knocked out. But I don't think it's the end of Adrian Broner, because Adrian Broner's still a marketable guy. You know what I mean? As long as he has that mouthpiece, Adrian Broner's always going to be a marketable guy.
There it is, and that's the name of the game, brother. There's 2 reasons why we get into this business. 1, to make money. 2, to make more money. And
Yeah,
there it is.
absolutely. And anybody that tells you that they don't is a big liar.
And there it is. But were you a bit surprised to see Blair the Flair Cobbs get into Adrian Broner's head like this?
Yeah.
Were you
He's
surprised about that?
I've always said it. Boxing's a 90% mental sport, man. And if you can beat somebody in the head, you've lost the fight going in.
Yep. There it is. Yeah. There it is, brother. Number 5, Fact or Fiction, brother. And we only have one more after this, okay?
All right.
So here it is. Trainer Robert Garcia is going to be in town here in about a week and a half. Is correct when he states Ryan Garcia is crazy for calling out Virgil Ortiz Jr. Fact or fiction?
No, I think that's fiction. Listen, Ryan Garcia is Ryan Garcia, and he's going to do what he's going to do. And why would he be crazy for calling out somebody? And we've all seen that when Ryan Garcia calls out somebody, he comes through for, you know what I mean? He's part of a Make-A-Wish Foundation. You know, what he wishes for, he gets. You know what I mean? So, Ryan Garcia and Virgil Ortiz Jr., I think it's a great fight, you know? And it's a sellable fight, you know, and we're in the business to sell a fight.
There it is, brother. It's all about that matchup. Number 6, last but definitely not least, Arthur Beterbiev will not be ready by October and will be replaced by David Benavidez to face Dimitri Bivol for the WBA light heavyweight championship in Saudi Arabia. Fact or fiction?
That's a fact.
Woo!
Yeah. That's got to be a fact. I believe that some interesting things are going to take place in between, and I just think that will take place in Saudi. Right now, Saudi's getting everything, you know, and they've got the money to take everything. You know, so I just think that they need to form their own commission out in Saudi. You know what I mean? I really don't like who they're using out there. I think they need to get some people together and really form a great commission out there, you know?
Yep. Here goes bonus since you mentioned that, brother. Hold on. Shoot. No, here it is. Number 2, Deontay Wilder will not retire, but will change head trainers and start working with Ronnie Shields. Fact or fiction?
I believe that to be fact. Listen, if Deontay Wilder does not want to retire and he wants to keep on boxing, Ronnie Shields has revived a lot of heavyweights' careers, man. And if anybody can do it, I put my money on Ronnie Shields.
And there it is. Now, very quickly, Robert, what should fans expect tomorrow evening if they're going to Team Combat League for the very first time?
Listen, this is a new concept, man. This is great boxing. This is forget the feel out process and let's do business. You know what I'm saying? If you want to think, it's like championship rounds all in one. You know what I mean? And the team concept, I think, whoever has not seen Team Combat League needs to go see this tomorrow. This is absolutely just it's entertaining and it's exciting. You know, you get championship rounds for 24 rounds straight.
There it
is. And go support your local team, San Antonio Snipers, you know. San Antonio needs to get behind their team. And last time Houston barely edged it out at the end. We need to go support our hometown.
Yep. Guys, we're going to be there, and we're going to give you all kinds of live coverage tomorrow from the Shrine Auditorium. Well, look, I lied. One more fact or fiction do you have time for, brother?
Yes.
Number 9, here it is. Bomac, Brian McIntyre is correct when he states Fundora will stop Errol Spence Jr. when they meet this October. Fact or fiction?
Well, I'm a big Fundora fan, but I'm going to say that's fiction.
Oh, boo. So you still think EJ is the big fish
I think EJ's gonna come out. I think EJ's gonna come out and surprise everybody just because of his last performance.
And there it is. There it is. I tell you what, Robert, you survived fact or fiction, brother. And it looks like you dropped the phone there. Are you still there, brother? Looks like we may have gotten disconnected from the always astute Robert Tapia. Guys, matchmaker and event coordinator extraordinaire. But guys, that's going to just about do it. Robert, we want to thank you for being on the program, my man. We will see you tomorrow at the Shrine Auditorium, sir. But that's going to just about do it, guys. Please like and comment, guys. And if you're in the South Texas area, drive up to San Antonio. I'm going to be there with several of my fighters. We're going to be having lots of live coverage at the Shrine Auditorium for the Houston Hitmen. Well, taking on our own San Antonio Snipers in Team Combat League. And if you guys aren't in, just log on to teamcombatleague.com, and you can see all the action. And it's going to be a great lineup, guys, all the way from featherweight. Oh, no, even lower than that. It's going to be super flyweight to heavyweight. And it's going to be a great, great evening of boxing, guys. But on behalf of Austin Trout, on behalf of the always professional Thomas Treiber, and on behalf of my man, Robert Tapia, I'm Joseph Heron. You've been listening to War Week Boxing. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.
W.A.W presents Big Time Boxing USA on W.A.W Radio.